Hi, this is Sweet June. I'm coming back at you with another video topic. Remember the last video I did, Trusting the Single Mothers or Women, Baby Mama versus Wife. Like I said, I'm not letting the men off the hook. Okay, ladies? Not letting the men off the hook. I'm going to call this video Black Men and the Baby Daddy Syndrome. Black now, brothers ain't gonna like this topic. They not gonna like it, but it is what it is. Like I said, disclaimer, I don't sugarcoat. I don't sugarcoat. I tell you guys many, many, many times, I don't sugarcoat. Over here at Sweet June Land, you're gonna get it 100%. Straight, no chaser. It's too much going down to be sweeping things in the carpet and sugarcoating. I mean, come on now. That ain't reality. I only deal in realities over here. That's all I deal with over here in Sweet June Land. I only deal with realities, not fantasies. I only deal with realities. So I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Anyway, I want to talk about a major issue. Now I've done many videos addressing the women, so I don't want to hear. Don't come on my video talking about what about the women? I've checked out my content. I've done many videos addressing women. Okay, so I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear what about the women. I've done many videos addressing the women. I'm not letting you guys off the hook. Okay, because there's two sides to a coin. Okay, so I tell women all the time in my videos. I encourage women to abstain from sex until marriage, keep from having children. Do not, if you can help it, if she can help it, if you can prevent having children outside of marriage without the benefit of a husband. I've done many videos on here talking about that. However, uh, as a Christian, um, the same goes for men. It's the same goes for men. Men need to abstain from sex until marriage. Okay? It's the same across the board for everybody. Jehovah God made the rules. He didn't just make it for women. He made it for men too. So men are up to abstain from sex until marriage as well. Not just women. I ain't just talking about women. Men need to abstain too. When I talk to my sons, I encourage them to abstain. They don't listen. They don't listen. But I tell them, when I say it, when I tell them, it goes through one ear and out the other. Uh, Try to encourage them to abstain from marriage, abstain from sex until they get married. Like I said, they don't listen. But that was that's God's order. If that's God, the problem is when we go outside of God's will, when we go outside of God's will, when we be disobedient and we don't do things God's way, and I say we, I'm talking about me and I'm talking about everybody else. When we go outside of God's will and we don't do things God's way, then we got to suffer the consequences. There's consequences. There's cause and there's effect. There's consequences to everything that we do out here, you know. And the problem is, Jehovah God says, do not have sex outside of marriage. It's a protection, He's not being restrictive. It's a protection for us. Why do God put those things in the Bible? Why do God tell us to abstain from sex outside of marriage? Why did he put that in the Bible? He put that in the Bible for our protection. It's for our protection because we know that there's sexually transmitted diseases out here that happen as a result of people just having sex willy-nilly, without the benefit of marriage, and they're just hopping from one person to the next. That's the reason why diseases are spread. If people did this, is the thing. If people did things God's way, if people did it God's way and they got married first, and then they only had sex with their marriage mates, we wouldn't have these problems. We wouldn't have diseases running rampant out here. But it's because people are sleeping around and they're having sex and going jumping from one person to the next, and that's how all these diseases are being transmitted. Okay. Another thing, children are born outside of marriage without the benefit of a mother and a father in the home. And if you check some of my other videos, I've stated many, many times the importance of children of all races being born with a mother and a father. But it's especially detrimental for a black child to be born to a single parent home without the benefit of a male head. It's especially detrimental for black children. Check out my other video, I break that down. But I'm going to do some other videos breaking it down according to males and females, so stay tuned. Um, it's a reason why Jehovah God says that, because children need both a mother and a father. Now, I know they got some other things going on, and I'm not going to even get into all that, but the Bible says the child should have a father and a mother in the home. Should be a husband and it should be a wife. That's the way people, if people say, well, I don't believe in the Bible, or the Bible's an outdated book. How is it outdated? Because we see the manifestation of all this stuff, all these diseases running rapid around, being transmitted everywhere. All these children are growing up in single parent homes, and we see our black communities across the country are in shambles as a result of that. And it's not just on the black woman. It actually falls back on the men, because the men are supposed to be the head of the black community. Okay? Because God created man first. He didn't create a woman first. He created man. So it actually falls back on the men. Black men like to blame. Not saying all black men, but a lot of black men. But I hear a lot of black men on YouTube and everything. They always say, "Oh, it's because it's the reason why all this stuff is happening in the black community, because they're being raised by single black mothers." But what about the fathers? They never say anything about the fathers. What about the fathers? They never say it's because there's not a male head in the home, or because they're being raised without a father. There's no father. They never say that. They always say it's because they're being raised by single black women, single black mothers. Like, as if to suggest it's all the woman's fault. Okay? Black women do not have the power to we don't have the power to reproduce ourselves. Some type of insect does that, but newsflash, we don't have the power to do that. If we get pregnant, then we need that sperm to fertilize our egg. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Okay, so it takes two. It's a dual effort of the man and the woman. Basic biologic, sex education lesson. The sperm meets the egg. Without that sperm meeting the egg, that egg can't get fertilized. Okay, so it's not just the woman, it's the man. And last time I checked, I don't think I hear too many cases of women raping men. Do you hear any, you guys hear any cases of women raping men? I don't hear a whole lot of cases of women holding men by gunpoint and forcing them to have sex with them to impregnate them. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not hearing too many cases of that. So that's not going on. And there's no sperm banks in the black community. So black women are not going to sperm banks. So, okay, let's eliminate that possibility. So it'll be safe to say that the men are willing participants. The men are willing to deposit the sperm inside the woman, the black woman, and getting the black woman impregnated. They're willing participants. Okay, so let's not just put all the responsibility on the woman and say it's all the woman's fault. Let's it's a dual effort. It's not just on the woman. The man has a responsibility. The number one problem in the black community is that we are not holding our black men accountable. Okay, um, um, we're enabling our men. Stay tuned. We'll do another video talking about that. We do not hold our men to the accountability that we need to hold them. Okay. Now at the end of the day, hey, I love black men. I love my men. I want my men to do better. I want my black men to do better. I want to see the black men do better. I want to see the black man take responsibility. Because every time I don't even have to look at the video. I can look at the titles of these different videos that a lot of these black men put on YouTube. And it just speaks volumes that they're always putting all the blame on the women, but they never hold the men accountable. Okay? Why isn't that you guys need to be holding each other accountable? You need to hold each other accountable. You're not holding the men accountable. You're putting all the blame on the woman. It takes two people. I always say it takes two irresponsible people to make a baby. That's what I say. It takes two irresponsible people to make a baby. Because if at least one person was being responsible, there would be no baby. It's not rocket science, okay? So let's not put all the blame on the black woman. Put everything on the black woman's shoulders and act like everything's the black woman's fault. Black women are holding a gun to your head and they're forcing you to have sex and impregnating her. We all know it's not going down like that. So the problem in the black community is we're not holding our men accountable like they should be. Okay? You are 50%. If you are a black male and you have children outside of marriage, you are 50% responsible for that child. Okay? And some men may argue, I've heard a lot of men here on YouTube, black men on here on YouTube say, oh, well, um, she should have had an abortion, or if she knew that man didn't want that baby, then she should have had an abortion. First of all, let me get something straight. Abortion is murder. Murder. Why would you expect for a woman to take an innocent child's life because you and her was being irresponsible? Okay? Why is it that an innocent child's life has to be snuffed out? An innocent child's life has to be taken. An innocent life has to be taken because two people are being irresponsible. That's murder. And God is not okay with that. God is not okay with murder. Jehovah God is not okay with murder. It's murder, plain and simple. It's murder. Abortion is murder. Why would you expect a woman to kill a baby? It is a life at the time of conception. Okay? It is a life. I don't care what you say. But it's a life. By the time a woman finds out she's pregnant, which is about a month long or whatever, that baby has nerve endings. That embryo, no, it's not a baby, but it's an embryo. It's an embryo forming into a baby, has nerve endings. Okay? By the time most abortions take place, that embryo can feel pain. It's forming into a baby. Fingers, toes, arms, legs, they have nerve endings and they can feel pain. So I don't want to hear this stuff about, oh, it's not really a life. It is a life. It is a life at the time of conception. Why would you expect a woman to have an abortion because you and her was being irresponsible, killing an innocent child, taking an innocent child's life? God ain't down for that. And anybody that does that will be held accountable for it. Can you be forgiven for it? Yeah, you can. But if you don't repent, you will be held accountable. Okay? You're going to be held accountable. Plain and simple. So, if you are a black male and you have children outside of marriage, and you've had sex with a woman outside of marriage that was not your wife, and you impregnated her, and she had the baby, regardless of what the situation was, she had the baby, and you did it with one woman. You just didn't do it with the one woman. You did it when you went out and you had sex with another one. You impregnated her. Then next thing you know, you went with another one. You had sex with her, impregnated her. She had the baby. You had another one. I noticed that A lot of black men have a lot of, as they say, baby mamas, because that's a stigmatized name that they give black women, baby mama. They have a lot of baby mamas. They have multiple children by multiple women. But it's always the woman's fault. That he doesn't take responsibility. Society as a whole doesn't hold, because they're so busy stereotyping and stigmatizing black women, they blame the black women. But where is the black man's accountability? Okay. At some point, you as a black man have to take responsibility for your body because there's diseases. It's a fatal disease, AIDS, that you can die from. So you not should only be thinking about children outside of marriage, but you need to also be thinking about a deadly disease that you can catch. And I tell my sons this all the time. Okay. So what happens is, if you sit up here and you have a family here, and then you go to the next woman, you have a family here. You go to the next woman, you have a family here. And have a child here, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you look up, you got 3 or 4 baby mamas. Because anything more than two is bad. Okay, anything more than two, you're getting into some high numbers. And two is bad enough, but then you get over two, then okay, this is the consequences that black men have to deal with when they're having children by multiple women. The first thing is child support. No, it don't make no sense for you to get mad at that woman for filing child support, because if you get a woman pregnant, that's not your wife, and she has that child. If you are not helping her support that child, if you're not giving that woman 50% financial support, she's gonna have to go down to social services or whatever it's called in that city to apply for food stamps if her income is not, if she's not making 6 figures, and she's her income is below the poverty line, she has to go down and get assistance. In a lot of states, like here in Michigan, if a woman has a baby and she applies for assistance, they automatically put that man on child support. That's here in Michigan. I don't know how many other states it's like that, but here in Michigan, that's how it goes down. If a woman applies for any assistance, it don't make no difference whether it's Medicaid, child care assistance, food stamps, or whatever, then she is required to give the name of the father that fathered her child, so they can put him on child support. So it's actually here in Michigan, women that apply for food stamps or whatever do not put the men on child support. The state of Michigan puts the men on child support because they figure, okay, we got to drop her food stamps and all that, or you gonna be dropping something because you the father. Okay, so as a result, if you got more than one child, you and all those women, let's say you got 3 babies mamas, and all those women file child support. Okay, well, you got child support that you're paying on 3 different mothers. You know, my youngest son's dad is in this situation. He got multiple baby mamas across the board, and he's got all these child support cases. Well, he's skimmed and scammed his way out of my child support case, but that's a whole nother video. But that's what happens. You find yourself in a situation to where you have multiple child support cases, and if you are not, they garnish your check. They take money out of your check. If they can't get the money that way, guess what? You're going to jail. In the state of Michigan here, they can even take away your driver's license if you got you owe a large amount of money in child support, unpaid child support. They can even take away your driver's license here in Michigan. Okay, they can take away your license. Okay, so um, that is the consequences of when you having babies by women that you are not married to. You got that child support thing, and men have went to jail. They have their checks garnished, and they take whatever they want to take out of it. And they don't care whether you have enough to live on or not. You know, they don't care whether you have enough to live on. And that's a big major issue for men that have children by women that they're not married to. Okay. So um, that you got to deal with that consequence. And then you also have to deal with if you wasn't careful about the type of women that you had that you got impregnated, you got to deal with baby mama's drama. And if you get into another relationship, let's say you got three baby mamas and you get into a relationship, well, what woman want to deal with a man that got to deal with all that baggage, all that baby mama drama going on? See, these are the consequences. These are the consequences to having uh, kids by multiple women. When you have children by multiple women, that is the consequence of having children by multiple women. Okay, so men have to take responsibility for their bodies, not just women. You can't just put it on the woman to, you can't just depend on the woman for the birth control. You as a man need to take responsibility for your body because it's not just the baby that you have to worry about. But what about diseases? What about AIDS? What about herpes? What about gonorrhea? What about syphilis? AIDS is the deadly one. HPV. HPV virus can cause cancer. If you get it, it can cause cancer. What about those diseases? So it's not just the baby you have to worry about. What about sexually transmitted diseases? I highly recommend that you abstain from sex until you are married, until you find a suitable woman that that you can settle down with, because the benefits of having children within a marriage for a man is one of the major benefits is that he don't have to worry about child support. You know, whereas if you have babies by women that are not your wife, then you got to deal with these child support, and it's going to affect your finances majorly because you still got to live, you still got to provide a roof over your head. You still got to take care of yourself. So if you're getting all this child support taken out of your check, when that's cutting your check short, I tell my sons this all the time. So I would strongly advise black men abstain from sex, just like I tell the women, until marriage. If you don't, and you don't protect yourself, then those are the consequences. You have no one but yourself to blame. If 50% of the woman's responsibility, but what about your accountability? What about you not having sex with a woman that's not your wife? And if you do, what about you protecting yourself and wearing a condom? Because if you're an adult, then you need to think like an adult and you need to take responsibility. It's not all the black woman's fault. It takes two irresponsible people to make a baby. If at least one person was being responsible, there would be no baby. So a real man takes responsibility for his actions. A real man doesn't try to get out of his responsibilities, just like a real woman doesn't try to get out of her responsibilities. A real man takes responsibilities for his actions. A real man mans up, and he doesn't put all the blame on the woman because it's not all the woman's fault. If you laid there and you was a willing participant, she didn't force you to have sex with her, and you were a willing participant, you know sex leads to babies. Why put all your reproductive decisions in a woman's hand? Because you know once that woman gets pregnant, she can make the decision to have that baby. And that's her right. That's her right to make that decision. Why put all your reproductive decisions in a woman's hand? When you need, as a man, need to take responsibility for your body. Because these men come on here crying about child support and they get mad at the women for, you know, putting down women for filing child support. In most cases, it's not the women that's filing it. In most cases, it's the state. In Michigan, the state files the child support. It's the state. And I think it's like that in a lot of states. It's the state. If the woman goes down for assistance, any kind of assistance, the state automatically files the child support. There ain't no sense in getting mad at that woman because you brought it on yourself. Just tired of hearing that, men, getting mad and getting angry at the woman. But where was your responsibility as a man? What was you supposed to do? You were either supposed to not have sex with that woman to begin with because she wasn't your wife, or it was your responsibility to use a condom. When you don't use a condom and you have unprotected sex with a woman, what you're basically doing is you're putting all your reproductive decisions in that woman's hands. So when a baby is born as a result, man up. Like I told my oldest son, man up. Man up and take responsibility. Plain and simple. It's not just on the woman. She's only 50% responsible. Okay. Got some more interesting video topics coming up. So please like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell so every time I do a video, it'll pop up. You'll be notified. Stay tuned. I got some more interesting video topics coming up. Peace and love. This is Sweet June.